Hi families, this is Mrs. Bauer and I'm here to give you a quick tutorial on the arrow method in mathematics. So you can use the arrow method in addition and subtraction. On this problem I'm going to do it with subtraction, and the arrow method is a great way to help kids get towards adding and subtracting using mental math, which means without a calculator or without a pencil and paper, to do it in their head. So I'm just going to show you how. I tell the kids to try this method out in class, and I really want them to work at it and get to know it and to be successful at it. For some kids, they just cannot wrap their head around it, and I do default and say, if you have to revert back to the vertical method or the way we're used to subtracting with borrowing and all that, or drawing a place value chart, they can do it, because I do, in the end of the day, just want them to know how to add and subtract. But of course we want them to know how to add and subtract mentally and to do harder math problems. So I do want them to give this a try. And I do tell them that problems like this will be on the end of the unit assessment, so they might as well try it before they go back to the vertical method. But of course, as a default, if they cannot get it, they can do the vertical method. But it will be on a test, so they need to practice it and try it and really pay attention in class too. And really, it's not that hard once you get the hang of it. So let me show you how to do this. I know some of you are helping your children with their schoolwork and you're like, the arrow, what is this all about? So I wanted to just quickly tell you what the arrow method was. So I have 830 minus 780. So I'm going to start with 830, and I am going to break apart that 780 into parts. So there is a 700 part, and there is an 80 part. That's how I would say it in class. I try to use pretty simple language. So when I break it up into the 700 part and the 80 part, I do that because subtracting 700 from 830 is relatively simple, because both numbers end with a 0. We call them benchmark numbers in the classroom. So if I have 830 and I subtract 700, my handwriting is absolutely terrible. I do apologize. Your kids put up with it though very well. They don't complain at all. So 830 minus 700, hopefully most all the children can do that in their head, and they know that it would be 130. So then 130, so then I would say to them, okay, well, we've already taken out the 700. We would celebrate that the biggest chunk of that number is already subtracted out. Now we just have to deal with the 80 part, and I would actually cross it out in front of them, and I would show them that, say, yay, we took out 700. Now we have to take out 80. So now we're doing 130 minus 80, which is still a tough problem. So I would ask them, if I'm at 130, what would be my next 100? Now I am going backwards, so my next 100 is 100 itself. So I would tell them, what's the closest 100? So they might say 100. I hope they would say that. And I would say, how would I get there? How many would I have to take away? And hopefully they would see that I have to take away 30 to get to 100. So I would say, can we take a 30 part out of this 80? And of course we can, because there's 80, so I can take away 30. And so what would my other part of 80 be? And there are a lot of children in the class who would know that 50 plus 30 equals 80. So I said, well, let's go to the 30 part. Let's take that out, because that's really easy. So we would take out the 30, and then I would cross that out, and I would say, then we would celebrate some more. We would say, yay, we took out the 700 part. Now we took out this 30 part. What is still left of that 780? And it would be this 50 part. Well, let me do that. So it's 130 minus 30 does equal 100. And now we can take out the 50 part. And 100 minus 50 equals 50. So they have mentally solved 830 minus 780. 80. Sure, it's technically on paper, but it's a step in that direction. Now, if your child has trouble counting by hundreds and by tens, going up and down with relative ease, then maybe that is something you want to practice at home. Just, start with any number, start with 540 and say, we're going to count up by hundreds and then count backwards by hundreds. Or count up by tens and count backwards by tens. Or mix it up. Say, go up by a 100. Now go up by 10. Now go down by 100. Go down by 10. Down by 10 again. So maybe having those drills at home would be helpful. So I hope this little video helped you. The arrow method is not going away for at least Module 5. It will still be around. It will be on the end of the unit assessment. So if your children do ask for help on math, this is how you do the arrow method. And like I said, you can do it with adding or subtracting. Either way works. Have a good night. I'll see your babies tomorrow, and I love you all.